Although the following letter, entitled Banged by a Birthright Employee, is based on actual events, it is in no way a legitimate complaint or file of harassment by its author towards the Birthright organization, any of its subsidiary groups, or any of its employees thereof. This letter is a work of fiction. All names, characters, and places are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual events or locales of persons living or dead is entirely coincidental. Also, please note that the idea that a Birthright employee continually banged an innocent Jewish girl in order to get her to register for his company's Israel trip is merely an idea and should be interpreted as such.
Dear Birthright Israel head person, Shalom. My name is Mindy Rath, and this summer I'm going to Israel for the first time on one of your Birthright trips. Yay! I know it will be amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about your organization, that the guides on your trip are well-educated and interesting, that the Israelis on the trip are nice and smart and helpful, and I know I'm bound to make a ton of new friends and really nurture my budding Jewish identity. Anyway, praising you in advance for an awesome trip is not why I'm writing this letter. I'm writing this letter to let you know that your new, scandalous recruiting methods are working like a charm. In other words, one of your employees has successfully fucked his way into getting me to register for this Birthright trip. Congratulations. See, I was always under the impression that all of your employees worked out of an office. That's why I was so touched when one of them, a really common Jewish name, made a personal sales visit just to see me. He got me drunk off bottles of sake, confessed his affections towards me, and we started seeing each other, long distance. Don't worry, Birthright Israel head person. Really common Jewish name, was pitching the trip the whole time. Seriously. He talked about Israel incessantly. During foreplay, oh yeah, the first night you start off in Jerusalem, and you meet all the other people on your trip, and you guys, you get to play get-to-know-you games, yeah. He talked about Israel while I attended to him orally. Oh, baby, that feels so good. Yeah, not as good as it's going to feel when you see the Wailing Wall for the first time on the first night of your trip. And he even talked about Israel during intercourse. Oh, yeah, your first time in Israel. Oh, yeah, it's going to change your life. I have to admit, I would never consider dating a balding Jewish man who rants about Israel nonstop and refers to his penis as the stuff. But you see, his stuff stayed stiff for an amount of time that exceeded all biological normalcy. I mean, at first I thought, oh my God, this is great, and then I thought, no, he must be on something looking back that you guys probably supplied him. But at the time, I was completely oblivious and overjoyed. I mean, I was dating a Jewish guy who could stay hard for over 48 hours. I was living the Jewish American girl dream. And really common Jewish name was not only perpetually hard, but he was a perfect gentleman, buying me dinner, bringing me back a milk and honey body wash, and the last trip he staffed, even calling my mom to chat. He was a pro! I mean, I have to admit, before I met really common Jewish name, I was still wavering on the whole going to Israel thing, but one night, after hearing about Israel 7 times in a row, in 4 different positions, I finally cracked! And I was on your website the next morning filling out my application. Yet, soon after my Birthright online registration was complete, holding fee and all, really common Jewish names admiration stopped. I received no more calls. No more Israeli-themed sex, not even a Valentine. At first I felt used and upset and angry. I was mad at really common Jewish name. I was mad at Birthright. I was even mad at Israel. I mean, when really common Jewish name was eating my pussy, he wasn't thinking about me. No, he was probably picturing himself munching on a falafel. And really common Jewish name was climbing atop me, both hands squeezing my oversized Ashkenazi milky white breasts. He wasn't thinking about that, but no, he was probably picturing his hands gripping the sides of Mount Shlomo, or perhaps Masada. But don't worry, Birthright, I'm not mad anymore, and I realized that really common Jewish name was just doing his job, and that He had no room for anything else in his life, save for participating in pseudo-relationships with women under 26 in hopes of converting as many Israel virgins as he could. I understand. I was tricked, I was duped, I was played by a Viagra-filled birthright pimp. And I'm still going on the trip. I just have one major concern, and that's meeting all the other girls on my trip that may have also befriended, really common Jewish name. I mean, I'm sure once we get over the initial shock of realizing we've all been whored out for Birthright, the awkwardness will fade. And I'm sure we'll all be hanging out and comparing sex stories over hummus and Nutella in no time. Yet, I fear there might be one among us still scarred, emotionally damaged, and unfilled with rage. And as my mom always says, it only takes one bitter, bitchy noodle to ruin the whole kugel. So, in placing me on a trip, I hope you'll take that into consideration. Well, Birthright, I am so excited about going on this trip this summer. Oh, and hey, mazel tov on deflowering another Israel version. Shalom, and thank you, Mindy Rapp.